But in Dundee, they make me a very rich man. They're tickets for tomorrow's League Cup final, a match which has raised football support in the city to heights not seen for many years. But because of the crowd limit of just over 24,500 and the decision to make it an all-ticket game, thousands of supporters from both camps have been left disappointed and desperate. There have been the inevitable complaints about the distribution of tickets and a whole variety of rumours concerning local companies, ex-players and just about everybody else being given priority over the real fans. Advertisements for tickets have been appearing in the local press this week, offering well above the face value. And as the hunt for tickets rises to a climax, anyone who might have even the slightest connection or influence has been beleaguered by requests. In normal competition, a hard core of around 12,000 fans support both teams. But sadly, it appears that a large proportion of this loyal following has been left ticketless and bitter. Thousands are almost certain to gather outside Dens Park tomorrow in the hope that they might somehow get in to see them. The strain is on the two clubs. Both managers have crossed the road. Jim McLean, a successful Dundee player and coach, has now become an equally successful Dundee United manager. He's Scotland's assistant manager and the longest-serving manager in the Premier League. Donald Mackay was United's keeper in the late 60s. He now finds himself in a League Cup final in his first season in the hot seat at Dens. By this time tomorrow, it will all be over. One club sad, the other rejoicing. Well, will United repeat their success of last year and will the Cup stay in the Tannadice Trophy Room? Or will Dundee topple their Premier Division rivals? Well, I have to live here, so I'm going to play it safe and leave that sort of speculation to Archie McPherson.
Well, I think we'll let Neil preview the next Celtic Rangers match. The final tomorrow is unique. It's historic and has caught the imagination of more than the Dundee public, many of whom won't even be able to get into Dens tomorrow. The appetite for this match is voracious in the city, and one hopes that it will awaken interest in an area that in the past decade hasn't exactly been the best marketplace for the game. The local element in it will perhaps provide an even greater incentive than usual. Now, here's just one sample of the Tannadice Street get-together. The address belongs to United.
Addison, that's Willie Pettigrew, and that must be a goal. Sturrock. Now, Sturrock, can he get moving? Brought it down well. Good run by Sturrock. Can he touch it back? He does. Oh, that was going. Kirkwood was in. Addison. Billy Kirkwood, the substitute. Graham Payne to take it. Calling it for the near post. Oh, that must be it. Yes, Kirkwood. No, Derek Stark. Stark it was.
That was from the first derby in the Premier League. Now, although United had infinitely better fortunes than Dundee last season, the First Division team's ability to pull their game together when it was a local derby showed through when they last met in the league at, this time, the other end of the street.
Nearing. Holt taking up good position, but Barr was there. Addison back. Oh, there it is. Paul Sturrock. Referee saying 10 yards. They're shielding their eyes as that comes out in the sun. Murphy. Shearer. And he's gone in. It's over the line. Yes. Jim Shearer is mobbed by his teammates.
Well, that's why United are expecting something special tomorrow. Now, although Dundee are not favourites, nobody would fall about with surprise if the home team won, for haven't they the biggest scalp of all to boast about? Remember when they took it that night at Pittodrie?
Fletcher winning a corner. Well, Fletcher, when he played for Arbroath, scored a vital goal in the Scottish Cup tonight, Easter Road, that knocked Hibs out of the Scottish Cup. Wonder what's going through his mind as Scheidler puts it across. Three Aberdeen players jumping. Fraser, it's in! Dundee have done it!
Fight, determination and good organisation. That's what Donald Mackay has drummed into his team. They'll need it all, for if United touch the heights, then they have the kind of players to make class tell. What's more, they are the holders and they have no intention of leaving the cup behind on Saturday. They won it handsomely.
Kirkwood is still down, but that's a good ball to Pettigrew. Still a chance. He scored! Beautifully cultured player, Gannon. Holt. Sturrock on the left again. Fleming is inside. That's Pettigrew done it. Now Sturrock on the break. Willie Pettigrew's inside and he's on the clear. Willie, an own goal.
Well, more people have been putting money on United to win, but the way Dundee are now playing suggests that the day could go there.
Premier League games, we preview the inter-district rugby match between North Midlands and South at St Andrews, and Bobby Clark will be here with his usual comment spot. But as far as football is concerned, the big game tomorrow is the Bells League Cup final, which brings together for the first time ever in a major cup final Dundee and Dundee United. Both managers will delay their team selections until tomorrow morning, until they see how ground conditions are. Today, Dundee United manager Jim McLean told me his big problem will be who to leave out. He said, if the ground is hard, I will have to play the team I don't want to play. If the going is soft, I'll be happy because whatever happens, we want to put on a good show. Dundee manager Donald Mackay wasn't over worried about the conditions, although I got the impression from him today that he may prefer if the ground were hard. He said, we took delivery of a new set of football boots today which are designed to cope with hard surfaces. We want to be prepared. We have played on hard pitches already this season, and that may prove advantageous to us if there's frost tomorrow. So there you have it. The tension has been built up in Dundee over the past week or so, and we'll be hearing from the managers and some of the players in a few minutes. But first, a reminder of what happened when these sides last met in a cup tie. It was in the Scottish Cup at Tannadice last January when United hit their best form. This great solo run by Eamon Bannon left Willie Pettigrew clear to score from 15 yards. And then in the second half, a move started by George Fleming saw Graham Payne chipping the ball neatly into the Dundee goalmouth. It struck Dundee's Ian Redford, and Paul Sturrock was there to score. United's third goal was a real beauty. A corner kick by Payne was knocked out of the Dundee goalmouth, and fullback Frank Kopel moved in smartly to send Pettigrew clear. The striker turned quickly and hit a great shot past Donaldson. Dundee were reduced to 9 men by the time United's fourth goal came along. It saw Pettigrew controlling a Sturrock cross to score very neatly. Then we had the second penalty incident of the match. Dundee fullback Peter Miller brought down Sturrock in the box with this tackle, and Pettigrew accepted the opportunity of getting his fourth goal by converting the spot kick. Towards the end, Dundee got a consolation goal through Billy Perry. Yes, well, obviously a black night for Dundee at a time when they were fighting to avoid relegation. Towards the end of last season, however, they produced one of particular result which, to put it mildly, shocked Scottish football to its roots. It was a marvellous performance at Dens Park against Celtic when everything went right on the day.
McLeod head flicking that through to McGarvey. McGeechy going up, Aiken going in. Aiken working a very nice 1-2 and a chance on a glorious goal. Beautiful goal by Aiken. Superbly taken. Shearer, long floater. McDonald doesn't get it. Chance with Ferguson and goal. Beautifully taken by Ferguson. Shout by Miller at the edge of the box. Miller brought down by McLean. Penalty. Just coming up to the 26th minute, Ian Ferguson has already scored the first goal for Dundee. And he makes it 2-1. Nice flick to Shedler there from Sinclair. Shedler getting it in deep. Ferguson waiting, McGrain knocks it down. Turned back by Mackey. Fleming, it's a goal! It's a goal, Fleming has scored, it's 3-1. Shearer, back to Shedler. Shedler getting it into the box. Ferguson, the shot, it's a goal! Sinclair makes it 4-1. Ball hanging in the wind, knocked forward to Sinclair. Sinclair coming through, rounding Latchford, chips it out in front, it's in the net, it's a goal. The referee is giving a goal, it's 5-1.
So the scene is set for a memorable occasion at Dens Park tomorrow. Alan Saunders has been looking at the background to the big game and talking to the team managers, some of the players, and to referee Bob Valentine, himself a Dundonian. Here's Alan Saunders' report.
Only 100 yards in the width of Tannadice Street separates Dens and Tannadice football parks. But for countless years now, the arguments have raged over the gap between the two teams, Dundee and United. For a long time, Dundee were the undoubted kings of the city, with 5 major successes behind them. Scottish Cup winners in 1910, Scottish League winners in 1962, and League Cup winners 3 times in 1951, 52 and 73. By comparison, United were the poor relations, with a trophy case devoid of any major honour. That is, until last season. In a drama-packed League Cup final at Dens Park, they hammered Aberdeen to lift their first ever major title. A few months later, Dundee were relegated, and possibly for the first time ever, the Kings had been deposed, and the crown belonged at Tannadice. With Dundee in the First Division, it seemed the dust had settled. But now the old arguments have flared again, with the two teams set for their first ever head-on clash in a major cup final at Dens Park tomorrow. United start favourites, and rightly so. They are the League Cup holders, they are the Premier League side, and they are determined to remain the #1 team.
Well, it's good that you're mentioning that, because it's in some quarters they still don't believe that, but without any shadow of doubt, the last 3 years Dundee United have most certainly been the top club in the city of Dundee. But as far as I'm concerned, the only important factor is that the Premier Division is the status from which at the end of the season you, in my own personal opinion, judge how good you have been. Winning a trophy last year, as far as I'm concerned, and struggling in the league was not good enough. Eventually we got it right, but Dundee, if there is a choice from winning the trophy or being relegated, we most certainly will want to be in the Premier League, but we hope to be in the Premier League and also win the trophy again this year. It was really nice last year.
How much of an advantage do you think it's going to be to you going in here as League Cup holders and the Premier Division side?
I think it's slightly disadvantaged in as much as Dundee are the underdogs and they most certainly have everything to gain and we've everything to lose. But in saying that, as far as I'm concerned, it's absolutely imperative that we give of our best on the day, and I'm sure the players will do that.
What sort of game do you anticipate, Jim? Because the last time you met, it was a very physical game. Do you think it's going to be the same again?
Well, I think it was a physical game from one team, but no way was it physical from Dundee United's point of view. And I'll settle for the same result and the same performance from my own players. I was really proud of every one of them in that match. But that is well behind us now. Only what happens on Saturday is the important factor. Could I just add that there's now a new manager at Dundee, and I don't expect the game to be anywhere near what it was in the last match with Dundee.
Like McLean, Hamish McAlpine, Frank Kopel and Paul Hegarty remember only too well the years spent in the shadow of their near neighbours, and they know the pride at stake, especially for the fans.
Honestly, I think once you're out there and the game started, it's just like any other cup final. But beforehand, there's definitely a lot of... Because people you meet in the street will say, well, good luck for Saturday and how do you think the result will go? And for a normal final, or possibly even a league game, you don't get people talking to that extent. So the added pressure is definitely built up with the public. But once the game starts, you know, it's just a normal cup final.
Looking at the game itself, Paul, do you think you are going to have a better chance because you are the League Cup holders and the Premier Division side?
No, not really, no. It's starting off scratch, 0-0, you know. It's going to be a difficult game. Derby games, you know, are always difficult. They're very, very hard at the best of times, so I think it'll be a close game.
What sort of game do you anticipate? Do you think it will be a physical game? Because the last time you met, it was a very hard encounter.
Yes, I think it might be physical, but hopefully there'll be a lot of skill involved as well, because it's a one-off thing that, you know, Dundee and Dundee United have got to a cup final, and I think it's a thing the fans and also the players should savour.
What do you think the atmosphere is going to be like?
Well, for the ground being capacity, the atmosphere will definitely be electric. I'm glad it is actually at Dens, where 24,000 will give a great atmosphere. If 24,000 at Hampden, you wouldn't get an atmosphere at all. And to get in a final, you definitely want an atmosphere for the occasion.
You don't think it's a disadvantage being at Dens?
No, I don't think so. I think most of the boys are really happy that it was, at least in Dundee anyway, you know. We're not really bothered about going to Dens. As if Frank's saying, the ground's going to be packed. We were there last year when Aberdeen played us, and It was a tremendous atmosphere, you know, and win or lose, obviously, we won, like, but I think if it lost as well, you could have still said that the atmosphere was tremendous compared to the Saturday before at Handon, you know. It's going to be chock-a-block, you know, there's still...
Bob Valentine. But being a Dundee man, will this be the toughest game he's faced?
I don't think so. I think that once this game starts, I could be refereeing a top game anywhere. I won't have time to think that this is my two hometown teams and that I'm refereeing in my home city. Once the whistle goes for the start of the game, I'll be too absorbed to even think anything other than the game, and I won't be thinking about where it is.
But isn't there going to be more pressure on you being a local man?
I don't see it that way, no. Well, the only pressure I've felt, I would say, is the same pressure that anyone remotely connected with this final has felt, and that is the hunt for tickets. I've been badgered by people looking for tickets. They seem to think that the referee gets almost as many as the clubs, and that has really been the only pressure on me.
Now, most cup finals provide controversy. If that happens, how is life going to be for you in the coming weeks? Have you thought of that?
No, because I'm a positive thinker, and I think that there won't be any controversy. Therefore, I haven't given the thought to that.
Well, Frank, you're now obviously looking for a prediction from me. And never being one to hedge my bets, I feel it probably could be Dundee United. After all, they are the Premier Division side and the League Cup holders. But then again, maybe it's going to be Dundee, because after all, they did beat Aberdeen. It can be really tough, you know, having two successful teams in your city.
Somehow I think Mr. Saunders